Welcome back, everybody, to our podcast where we uncover the stories behind thriving businesses and bring you expert insights straight from the source. I actually am your host, DDA, and in today's episode, we're going to be speaking with Maddie, who is one of the owners or the owner of Stretch Lab Oviedo. Good morning. How you doing, Maddie?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. So we're so excited to get to know you, kind of for you to share with our listeners a little bit about your business and your background. But before we go into that, this podcast, listeners, is all about behind the scenes experience and gives you valuable advice. It's a go-to resource for learning about the businesses that shape our communities and discovering how to make the most of their services, of course. And if you do like this podcast and you want to see more content like this, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, to this video as well, and leave some comments. So with that being said, let's dive right in and get to know Maddie a little bit. So welcome again and share with our audience a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. My name is Maddie Conway. Grew up in Florida my whole life. I was a collegiate athlete, swam at the University of Florida, which essentially led me to Stretch Lab. So I'm currently here in Orlando now, working with Stretch Lab, and just really excited to be here.
A graduate of the University of Florida. Go Gators, right?
Go Gators.
You gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of dig deep a little bit. You're the owner of Stretch Lab Oviedo. And when I was looking at your website, Maddie, I came across a couple things that stood out. And those were like, you guys improve posture, you reduce the stress, increase range of motion and flexibility, improve sports performance. And as a swimmer yourself, right? Is that what you said you were?
Yes.
Yeah, as a collegiate athlete in swimming, all these things help reduce muscle and joint pain when you're in the water. I'm assuming that's very good therapeutic as well. So, but without me going into detail, talk to us about some of these services that you guys provide.
Yeah, so I personally have experienced the one-on-one assisted stretching back in my college days, right? So that is what essentially led me to be with Stretch Lab today. I experienced the benefits firsthand and wanted to share that with everyone else. So essentially how Stretch Lab works is we are a one-on-one personalized stretching studio, right? So we offer 25 or 50-minute stretch sessions. The 25-minute stretch is specialized and focused on just specific areas of the body that people really want to work on. And that 50-minute stretch allows enough time for a full body stretch. So we really can hone in on those upper body and lower body stretches. All our stretch sessions are very customized and personalized to the individual, which is great. So that's how we're really able to allow people to reach those goals that they want to accomplish with assisted stretching. Like you mentioned, whether that be reducing recovery time, improving sports performance, increasing mobility, even down to decreasing stress.
Interesting. So are there any tips, things they can do on their own, thing that you can suggest?
Yeah. So we kind of live in a world today, right, where people are like constantly on the go, or we see a lot of remote jobs. So people are sitting for 8+ hours a day. Take 5 to 10 minutes. I know stretching at home is like the easiest, but the hardest thing to do. Really try and carve out 5 to 10 minutes just to stand up, move your body, do a couple stretches, whether it's literally just sitting at your desk doing this, right? Standing up, touching your toes, just to get your body moving. Those little actions that add up week over week will make a huge difference in the long run. Majority of our members that we see coming through our door are not doing that, right? So they're just sitting for 8 hours a day, or they're going from a workout class straight to work, straight to the grocery store, and they're not letting their body recover or move the way that it needs to. So literally just really being smart with it and carving out 5-10 minutes, set an alarm on your phone, right? Stand up and stretch will really help you.
And it seems like it can actually do wonders. Like you mentioned, a lot of people are sitting at their desk for 6 to 10 hours a day, and they don't realize by sitting so much, it can affect your posture as well, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. Posture and lower back pain is the most we see from our members and what they're dealing with. And it always ends up being that they're just sitting for long periods at a time.
So there are so many different trends in every industry, and I speak with a lot of business owners, when I do this podcast. Are there any trends that are shaping your industry that you're seeing of? And it could be trends of using technology, better equipment, information.
Yeah, I would say honestly, the biggest trend that we've started to notice is people like personalized individual services, right? We're starting to realize that not like something that works for someone is going to work for someone else, and people are catching on to that. So what we're doing is we're creating these stretch plans that are not going to work for everyone. It'll work for you as an individual and the goals that you want to accomplish, and every member that comes through our door, that's the stretch plan that we're creating. So to kind of keep up with those trends, we're investing a lot of time, money, and energy into training, certifications, doing the research that we need to figure out exactly what everyone is dealing with and what they want to accomplish with assisted stretching to get them to that goal.
And I wrote this down, you're actually tailoring a specific program for each individual that walks through the door, which is powerful.
Yes. Yeah, because everyone wants to feel special, right? At the end of the day, they want to feel like they're taken care of, and that's our goal here at Stretch Lab.
So speaking from, there's a lot of, I'm sure there are businesses that do what you do. What makes you guys unique? And then I also want to talk about a story that, if you can think about a story of a customer, of a client that has benefited, and you don't have to give the name, but an instant that really pops out.
Yeah. So what makes us unique is, again, kind of tying back to that we're not just a generic stretch studio, right? So you're not just coming in to get a stretch that everyone else is getting. You are getting a stretch designed specifically for you, what your body can handle and what you're wanting to accomplish and get out of that, whether it's that 25 or 50-minute stretch, which is kind of tough to get these days, right? Just because a lot of businesses are seeing a lot of people and it's hard to really curate a plan specifically for each individual, but that is our main focus and that's exactly what we do. So a prime example of that, right? So we had a member come in who actually got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And he really lost a lot of his mobility, started developing tremors, started to not be able to do the things that once brought him joy and that he loved. And coming to Stretch Lab was kind of his last resort. He never really heard about it before. Assisted stretching is such a new concept to a lot of people. So he came in giving it a shot, right? He's like, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this, but I'm going to try it out anyways.
Good for him.
We were really happy he came in. We assessed everything that he's been dealing with. And at the end of the day, the root cause is, what is your goal from assisted stretching and how can we get you there? So we sat down with him, we figured out what his goals were. And at the end of the day, he almost just wanted to regain his life back. He wanted to start to be able to do the things that he loved. And it's just small little activities that a lot of people take for granted, but is really big for him, right? So we created a stretch program for him. He's been coming in consistently once a week for 50 minutes. And actually the other day, he came up to me and his stretch practitioner and told us that he is feeling the best he's ever felt in his entire life since being diagnosed with Parkinson's. And he's starting to be able to work on his car and like do those small little activities that he once wasn't able to do. And I literally almost started tearing up. I was like, this is why I do what I do. And it works. Like, assisted stretching truly can change people's lives.
I love that. Assisted stretching can truly change people's lives.
Yeah.
And then I was going to ask you, how does that make you feel when he comes up and tells you that? And then you said, you started to tear up too. So it's really personal, when you're working with, your clients, and kudos to you for being able to offer a service that helps people.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it brings me back to this is why I do what I do, right? It makes everything worth it. All the ups, all the downs, like hearing testimonials like that truly changes. Obviously, it's changed their life, but it changes your own life too, just to keep going and to keep pushing through those tough times to know that it's all worth it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So, Maddie, we have individuals that are wanting to become business owners that are listening, or are business owners, maybe going through some, tough times. And any advice that you could give, since you are a business owner yourself, any advice that you could give to these individuals that want to push the needle forward and keep moving forward?
I would say, honestly, don't be afraid to fail, right? You're not going to know all the answers from day one, and that's okay. And just knowing the why behind you do everything you do. And, kind of like how I mentioned that member testimonial brings me back to all the struggles that I had dealt with from the beginning. And I'm like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is why I do what I do. And just to keep pushing forward, because you're going to get to where you are, where I am today, right? Where I'm like, wow, it all works out for a reason. And just don't give up, and just know your why and why you're doing what you want to do, and keep pursuing it.
Great advice. So as we're wrapping up here, could you provide our listeners a way to get a hold of you, your phone number, your website?
Yeah, so you can get a hold of me at oviedo@stretchlab.com. Always on my email. Email is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Would love to answer any advice, any questions anyone has. And social media too, on Instagram and Facebook. We are Stretch Lab Oviedo, so would love to connect.
Well, Maddie, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and to be able to share your business with our listeners. And hopefully we can have you back again in the near future.
Sounds good.
Thank you for tuning in to First Media Consulting Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe today. To nominate a business you would like to recommend to be on our show, go to firstmediaconsulting.com or call. Thank you for listening.